is Jalen Rose.
What up, yo?
I am Jalen Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together, we are Jalen Jacoby. What do?
We get the people what they want.
Jalen Rose, please give the people what they want. You are there in Cleveland for the NBA Finals. And this cannot end up being the J.R. Smith forgot the score finals, so they lost the finals. We cannot have that be the finality of the finals. Tell me, in Cleveland, have Cavs fans lost hope in this season in winning the championship?
Cavs fans have not lost hope, and rightfully so. They have LeBron James. They're returning to the friendly confines of their home arena. I think they're going to play a lot better in Game 3. The gaffe late by J.R. Smith, it was compounded by a few things, however, that people tend to forget. Number one, George Hill, you got to make the free throw, dog. You shoot almost 80%, you're a champion, you got to make the free throw, dog. But if you do miss the free throw, and J.R. Smith, who does a terrific job of getting a hustle play, pushing KD out of the way and grabbing the offensive board. Because if he lays that in like he should have, oh man, people would have been all over KD. But instead he doesn't. He dribbles the basketball back out, and he doesn't realize they have a timeout. But you know what else? Neither does LeBron James. You know what else? Neither does the coaching staff, because all of them had the opportunity to call it, and nobody did.
Jalen, how are you going to tell me the Cavs fans haven't lost hope when you're sitting in a cafe in the middle of Cleveland talking about the NBA Finals and no one's even paying attention? Everyone in the background's on their phone, not paying you any mind. Like, come on, Jalen. Come on. See, I watched First Take.
This guy is criticizing Cavs fans thinking that y'all don't still believe. I'm telling them y'all believe on live television. That's why I got to make sure that they're going to be able to hear the program when we do it in a couple of days. They still believe. They got the best player in the game, and LeBron James.
They're worried about lunch.
It's going to be
They're
just
not worried
fine.
about the NBA Finals. They are worried about lunch. So, Jalen Rose, I know you have a lot of people in the NBA in your phone. Let's imagine Ty Lue called your phone and said, Jalen, I'm at a loss. I really need some help. We need to make some adjustments for Game 3. What would you tell him? What adjustments do the Cavs need to make for Game 3?
So here's going to be a distinct key that's going to take place in Game 3. Now, Tristan Thompson's energy is going to be better. He's going to flirt with a double-double. Jeff Green is going to be slashing. He's going to get a couple of layups and dunks. JR is going to make a few more threes. But here's going to be the distinct difference that's going to take place in Game 3. They're going to make sure Kyle Korver gets involved. That's what's gotten lost about this series. He's been a player that the Warriors take advantage of defensively, so therefore, based on the matchups, his minutes have been limited. But now playing at home, I guarantee you, it's going to be a lot of flare action. It's going to be a lot of down screens. It's going to be a lot of single doubles. It's going to be a lot of misdirections with LeBron James running pick and roll with Kevin Love. And before you know it, he's doing the back action with Kyle Korver, and he's going to get more shots. That's going to be a distinct thing that I will tell Ty Lue, and that's going to happen in Game 3.
Well, we all know what happened in Game 1. J.R. Smith got the rebound, thought they were ahead, blah, blah, blah. He was looking to bounce back in Game 2, but he ended up going 2 for 9 from the field. When asked about his performance, he himself said he was terrible. Jalen, you know I love J.R. Smith, and I feel like he's being unfairly treated. He got an offensive rebound that he shouldn't even have that rebound. KD should have gotten it, and now everyone's blaming him. There's the video out where LeBron's all sad. Is too much blame being put on J.R. Smith for Game 1 and Game 2?
This distinctly reminds me of the title game in 1993 when my brother C. Webb called timeout. And people look back at that game and figure we lost because of that moment. No, we lost because we got beat. And that was the final moment that became a defining moment for the game. This is a little bit different with JR, but the sum of the parts, I agree with you. Because first and foremost, if you're going to be mad at somebody, you got to start with George Hill. You want him to make that free throw. Secondly, I played basketball for a long time. 4 years in high school, 3 years in college, and 13 years in the NBA. I probably never got an offensive rebound off a free throw. I didn't rebound at all. I wasn't trying to hustle. You know what I mean? He actually went after the ball. So based on that theory, when you get the ball, however, you must make a play. And really, again, I want to stress this. He saved KD because people have been building a mountain of evidence against KD that if the Warriors don't win, it was going to be his fault. You saw Draymond texting him at 4 in the morning. You saw Mama Green tweeting about them ISOing too much. All of a sudden, you get against the Houston Rockets. He doesn't necessarily play his best basketball. Now against LeBron James in Game 1. He wanted no parts of that, and LeBron went off for 51. So for KD, it ended up being a bounce-back moment because he was more effective and efficient in Game number 2.
Jalen Rose, there are new reports that Andre Iguodala is now pain-free and is eyeing a return in these NBA Finals. Jalen, if Iggy comes back, does that spell doom for the Cleveland Cavaliers?
If and when Iggy comes back, that's going to be trouble for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I'm not saying it because he's like a perennial all-star, but he's been a Finals MVP playing with these Golden State Warriors before Kevin Durant arrived. And so now they have their depth lineup back in tow. They can do a lot of switching on the perimeter late in the shot clock. He gives them another ball handler, a capable wide-open three-point shooter, and somebody who's just a smart basketball player. Because when you invest in KD, and rightfully so, he wants to come play for your team, you deplete your depth. And that's what they did. So their moniker used to be strength in numbers, not strength in all-stars.
Jalen, can you do me a favor? Can you buy that man in the hoodie and the Cleveland Cavaliers cap behind you, whatever he is ordering? Can you please do that for me?
Okay.
Can you get that for him?
The gentleman in the Cleveland Cavaliers cap, they want to make sure that we buy his order. They like his ability to represent his squad. So ESPN wants to make sure they purchase whatever that gentleman's buying.
Thank you so much. When we come back, we'll see that gentleman eating 4 lobsters, and
we'll explain
downtown why Steven Adams' fat fingers made everything socially awkward.
Explain the plot to Ocean's 11.
It's 11 people.
Yep, definitely that.
Water is a huge, huge factor
it's a
in
big
what's
part
going
of
to
our
take place.
planet.
And not just a man-made lake. Oceans.
Multiple.
11 of them.
11 oceans.
Right? There's a lifeguard.
Yep.
And he wants to make sure he saves people from drowning.
Yeah. I mean, no one wants to see anybody drown.
He had to encounter different people who were on the beach, and had issues directly and indirectly with the water.
Exactly. That was a great summary of the plot to Baywatch.
Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. In today's digital world of social media permeates through everything. Sometimes it gets a little socially awkward. Steven Adams liked a comment on a post about who was the most valuable player on the Thunder. Steven Adams liked the comment that said all of them except for Melo. Adams felt inclined to call the Thunder PR people and explain that it was his fat fingers that led to him liking this comment. Jalen Rose, it has happened again. An NBA player likes a comment and claims that it was by accident. In this case, do you believe Steven Adams?
I want to quote the great American philosopher LL Cool J. That's a lie.
Oh,
you're lying. Steven Adams, you're lying. That's a lie.
Really? Because you know Steven Adams is my guy. Steven Adams is my guy, and I tend to believe him because I love him so much. You really think that he liked this on purpose and then called the Thunder PR people and said it was a mistake?
I understand how much you love Larry Bird and Lance and Steven Adams. I get it, Jacoby. But here's the thing. He's on social media. He clearly sees the picture. He understands the dynamics of what's happening. He knows that when Melo went to OKC, he thought it was laughable that he would come off the bench. He also knows that they didn't meet expectations as a team. He also knows when the season ends, Melo was unhappy with his role. And he also has 28 million reasons why he's going to be back with the squad unless they can move him. So as a player on that team, trust me, he was saying what he felt. It just so happened that he realized he shouldn't be saying it on social media.
So he called the Thunder PR people and said, guys, I made a mistake. I liked this post. There was a negative about Melo. And the Thunder PR people were like them all. Like all of them. Go away. He's like, keep going more. We're trying to. We don't want him to resign. Keep liking him. Great idea, Steven. You're doing more work for the team than we are. Thank you so much. Jalen, I'm so glad you're here on the show today because we have an update on the quote-unquote beef between Pusha T and Drake. I'm not going to go back and explain it all to you because if you're watching this program, you probably know the history, especially the recent history between these two. But now we have an update from Jay Prince about the beef. Let's listen.
Well, I don't know when you said it, but over the weekend you were trending because you said, paraphrasing, you said that you talked with Drake and you told him to no longer respond to Pusha T.
Definitely, I feel like it crossed the line where music was concerned. I saw this going in a place that I feel would have ended his career if Drake would have put out the song that he had on him, and definitely would have hurt families, and you know what I mean, and we not in it for that.
Jalen Rose, Jay Prince is saying that Drake has recorded a track that would end Pusha T's career. Do you think this track exists, and do you think he should release it?
So first and foremost, I got to pull everybody behind the curtain on this one.
Okay.
Sway, that's family. Shout to the Bay Area, the homie, no doubt about it. I've been on this program multiple times, huge fan. Jay Prince is a legend in the game, young people. Let me say this one more time. Jay Prince is a legend in the game, young people. That's one of my OGs. I don't use that term very often. Not many people actually call me nephew, and it's actually applicable. It's applicable when it comes from Jay Prince. Please believe me. If you don't believe me, just Google it. That's all I gotta say. He's the CEO of Rap-A-Lot Records, one of the 4 founders of not only the Ghetto Boys, but of the hip-hop movement and ownership in the game. And oh, by the way, I'm not gonna even get into the fact that it's a realness that comes with when he speaks. Please believe me. Let me say that to everybody. Number one. Okay. Number two, when he speaks into a microphone and says something, I believe him. When he speaks into a microphone and says something, I believe him. Oh. And so therefore, would it end Pusha T's career? No, because I'm going to tell you, when I first realized that this was happening, and by the way, I always give my list of individuals that I love outside of Detroit that give me bars. And constantly, I always note Pusha T, Drake,
bars,
J.
bars,
Cole, and Kendrick.
Bars,
they all
bars.
come to mind when I say my MCs outside of Detroit. I could go Eminem, I could go Royce. You know where I'm going. But with that being said, when this alleged beef started taking place on wax, I was back with the popcorn. I promise you. I went to the stove, Orville Redenbacher, put the seeds in there, put a little oil in there. I shook it up with the top on there. I drained a little butter. I was all for this. Put a little Lowry seasoning salt in your popcorn. It's really good. Now, I went into the lab, and I purposely put on some headphones in their house, and I listened to each one of those records at least 10 times. And I have to say this. To this point, Pusha T won.
Oh, for sure.
I have to say
there's no question about it.
At
If you're
this
Drake,
point,
you got to release the track.
Pusha T
You got to
won.
release the track. You got to release the track.
And
I don't care
again,
what Jay Prince says. You got to release the track.
No doubt. And again, I have personal relationships with these people. I got love for Drake. I got love for King Push. I consider both of them fam, okay? I actually understand where this beef has come from. For years, this has been fostering. For years. And on a sports program, I don't really have to and don't care to get into where it came from. But here's what I will say. It's great for the sport.
It is.
And me analyzing what's happening is just like me watching the NBA Finals. I'm not from Cleveland. I'm not from Golden State. But I'm going to analyze what happens in the game. It's the exact same thing with this rap battle.
And just like the NBA Finals, so far this has been very one-sided, and we're all hoping that soon it starts to even up. Drake, release the track. If you have the track, release the track. Jalen Rose, we have to move on to something that I know is very important to you. Your hometown team. I know you're an objective journalist, but you do have a hometown team that you are very much a fan of, the Detroit Pistons. They are looking for a head coach, and they've interviewed a lot of people for the job. Even John Beilein, Dwayne Casey, they've interviewed a lot of people for the job, and now it seems to be reported that the current finalists for the head coaching job are Ime Udoka, John Beilein, and Dwayne Casey. Who do you want to see as the head coach for your Detroit Pistons next season and moving forward?
Dwayne Casey has shown he can be a terrific coach in the NBA. I think Jason Kidd unceremoniously got fired by the Milwaukee Bucks. He helped develop an all-NBA talent in the Greek Freak. John Beeline's done a terrific job for my Michigan Wolverines. We were in the NCAA Finals, this year. And we got a top recruiting class coming back, so I don't want him to leave. And did I just see, let me where's my bifocals? Did I see
bifocals?
Juwan Howard?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
So let me guess. Of course I want to see my brother get the job. Are you kidding me? I played with Ime. I said on this program before people were saying it nationally that Ime would be a head coach, and he's going to be a terrific head coach. But Juwan Howard, if Juwan got the gig, he would do an amazing job. And I know people feel like, oh, that's the homie. I'm going to say that. No, because I wouldn't want my homie to take the job of my hometown team and then we stunk, because then I would be mad at my homie. Okay? I want him to get the job because he's paid his dues. With Eric Spoelstra, you see what's happening with Coach Fizdale in Memphis. Now he got the job with the New York Knickerbockers. I think he would do an amazing job up front in particular. Remember what position he played. He played power forward and center, and he played well alongside Chris Webber, shooting the elbow jumper, 15 to 18 feet, throwing lobs. What do we have in Detroit? Who's our two best players?
Blake Griffin
and Andre Drummond. Sort of makes sense to me. I would love to see him get that opportunity.
I love this so much, but I do not love this as much as the topic in the next segment, in which we ask the question, is Vermont cultural?
Jalen and Jacoby is brought to you by Steel. Are you ready for Steel? Learn more at steelusa.com.
Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, buckle up. It's time for the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
And now, the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
Jalen, after hearing that only a portion of the Philadelphia Eagles would be attending the annual celebration of the NFL champions at the White House, President Trump has rescinded the offer. Soft move or boss move, rescinding an already rejected offer to an invite.
This is the ultimate soft move. Let me get this right. I really don't want to come to your party anyway, but then you want to act like you didn't invite me. Stop it. I said it on this program in November 2016. NBA players and NFL players will decline the opportunity once they won the championship to go to the White House. When the Golden State Warriors win this year, they will also decline the opportunity. Oh, wait, he's going to rescind the fact that they don't want to come and act like that he didn't invite them. But either way, I bet you this, the winner of the Stanley Cup not only will get invited, but they will attend.
Looks like that they will not have to travel too far for that invitation either. Moving on, Jalen Rose, Matt Barnes has this tattoo, a very realistic Tupac Shakur tattoo on his hand. Jalen, soft move or boss move, getting a hyper-realistic Tupac Shakur tattoo on your hand.
I don't know if they know one another, so it's kind of hard for me to say. If he knew him, then I would understand him trying to give love. But overall, I would probably have to say that's a soft move, because ultimately I'm not a fan of getting tattoos, even of immortals that I don't know. But that's just me as somebody that has a lot of tattoos. I love Muhammad Ali, but I'm not going to get a tattoo of him on me. To me, you have to get a tattoo of somebody that has physically told you that they love you 100 times and have given you 250 hugs. Then they deserve a tattoo.
I know that I qualify, so I look forward to you getting a tattoo of my face on yourself. And secondly, I'm going to call it a boss move because I am somewhat intimidated by Matt Barnes. Moving on, the state of Vermont is now offering $10,000 American dollars to anyone that moves to their state and works remotely. Jalen Rose, soft move or boss move, moving to Vermont for $10,000.
Boss move. Get that bread.
Boss move. Get the
and
money.
by the way, there's so many people. I'm going to put you up on something. You want to hustle, but you got to spend a lot of time at the airport. Just book yourself on flights that are going to get overbooked and continue to sell the ticket. Continue to sell the ticket. I'm trying to tell you, this is an ultimate hustle that people are sleeping on. You're going to spend a lot of time at the airport, but keep selling your ticket. You can get a lot of bread doing that without necessarily having to leave the airport.
First of all, that's kind of brilliant. Second of all, that has nothing to do with anything we put in the rundown for the show. And third of all, the only reason we put this topic in the rundown for the show is to ask this question. Jalen Rose, is the state of Vermont cultural?
The state of Vermont is 1,000% cultural. If you pulled out the dynamics and the breakdown and diversity of individuals that live in Vermont, I promise you, it's probably like a handful of them that look like me.
Well, I have been to Vermont many times, and I have found that place to be more diverse than you would think. And also, they have an annual reggae fest. So, I'm going to say that Vermont is not cultural. Jalen Rose, thank you for joining us here on Jalen and Jacoby. We'll be back tomorrow with a very special guest host. And don't forget to watch Get Up in the Morning and Game 3 at night.
Thank you. You're far too kind.